Good morning, students. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another day of measuring angles and using your protractor. Today we're going to talk about joining and separating angles. So the first activity on page 505 in your volume 2 of your Go Math says to create a 70-degree angle. Now we know a right angle is 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do is put a dot right there at 70, and I'm going to get you to cut out a piece of paper into a 70-degree angle. Now, from that point, it wants us to cut at the vertex 2 more angles. Okay? So, I'm going to take my protractor. It wants to know how big the 2 new angles are. Put your vertex right on the center of the angle, and this says it's about 40 degrees, and this one is about 30 degrees. So to fill in your book, yours may be different. Yours may be 45 and 25 or 40 and 30. It just depends on what you cut it at, which angle. What figures did you form? 2 acute angles. Record your measures. 30 degrees, 40 degrees. 40 degrees plus 30 degrees puts me back on 70 degrees. So we just connected back the 2 angles. Read through there and you can talk about how you found the sum. Okay, looking at page 506, it says, you can write the measure of the angles shown in a circle as a sum. It says use a protractor to find the measure of each angle. On this one, we are going to use our knowledge of angles and not even have to use our protractor. A complete circle is 360 degrees. A straight angle right here is 180 degrees. Now, what is half of 180? We talked about that yesterday. We know 90 degrees is half of 180. And if you want to check me with your protractor, you can go ahead and put the vertex on the center and look straight up how it is a 90-degree angle. So it says if you put the parts of 180 degrees, 90 degrees, and 90 degrees, the whole entire circle is 360 degrees. Looking at number 1, it says, add to find the measure of the angle. Write an equation to show your work. What is the measure of angle PQT? Now what I want you to do is take either a highlighter or marker or something, and I want you to darken the rays of PQT. That's going to include both of these smaller angles. So my equation would be 43 degrees plus 37 degrees. Okay? Over on the side, add the 2 numbers up, and you get 80 degrees for that entire larger angle. The next one, the measure of JKL. Trace over that. It includes both of the tiny angles again. We have 90 degrees plus 10 degrees. We know that that equals 100 degrees. Okay, number 3 says the measure of RHS. RHS includes all 3 angles. So this time our equation is 55 degrees plus 27 degrees plus 78 degrees. So you want to come to the side of your paper. You want to add 55 plus 27, which is 82. Then add your 78, which is 160 degrees. So that had 3 parts to it. Let's look at the next one, which is circles again. It says write the sum of the angle measures as an equation. Okay, on this you're probably going to want to go ahead and start with extending the arms. This is going to make it a whole lot easier in this tiny book to read. All right, so the first one I'm going to start with JLK. It points to the right, so my 0, I'm going to read the top scale, and I get 120 degrees. Now the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and turn your book. Okay, this one points to the left, and so my guideline is on the bottom, and I get exactly, if you can see it, I get exactly on 100 degrees. Okay, so turn your book again. On the last one, super wide angle, I'm going to read the top scale because the 0 is pointing to the top. I follow it all the way around. Right here would be 140 degrees. Now, if you want to double check yourself, 100 plus 120 is 220 degrees, plus 140 degrees is 360 degrees, which is exactly a circle. All right, looking at the next one, we can save some time. We can see that this half of a circle, which we know is 180, is split in half. So we know that both of these sections is 90 degrees. So all we have to figure out are the other two angles. I'm going to extend this arm right here. I'm going to put my vertex and my guideline. I'm going to read the top scale. And I get, if I would have extended it a little further, I get 135 degrees. So then I'm going to turn the book and I'm going to read this tiny angle right here. Line up the vertex, put it on the guideline, and I'm going to get about 45 degrees. So we know 90 and 90 is 180 degrees. 135 plus 45 is 180 degrees. And we know 180 plus 180 is 360 degrees. Let's look at problem number 6, 7, and 8. And then I'm going to let you work on the back and just give the answers so we can move quickly. Stephanie, Kay, and Shane each ate equal-sized piece of pizza. The measure of the angle of each piece was 45 degrees. When the pieces were together, what is the measure of the angle? So we have Stephanie, Kay, and Shane. We have 3 people. What do you ask to find? The total measure of the angle. Okay? What information do you need to use? We need to know there are 3 pieces that are 45 degrees each. Okay, tell how you can use addition to solve the problem. Well, you would add 45 plus 45 plus 45. It says fill in the bubble choice above. So we know 45 and 45 is 90, plus another 45 degrees would give us 135 degrees B. Okay, let's read number 7. It's multi-step. It says angle DRQ is a straight angle. So I have drawn DRQ across. So that means the top half of this is 180 degrees and the bottom is 180 degrees. The measure of DRB is twice. So we want to circle that word and put times 2. The measure of QR and T. So I'm going to put a question mark on QR and T because I have to find this angle to know what this angle is. All right, so if we know this whole bottom half is 180 and I've got 2 parts, this problem becomes a part-part whole. So I have 160 degrees that I know. I'm going to subtract the 180 and this tiny angle is 20 degrees. Now if this angle is times 2 of this angle. 20 times 2 is 40. Looking at problem 8, which equation can you use to find the measure of x, z, and w? We know this includes 2 smaller angles, so I don't even have to solve this one, I just have to find the correct equation. We know that we're going to be adding them together, so the only logical choice is B. All right, I want you to push pause on your, whatever you're listening to the video on, and I'm going to quickly run through so this video is not too long to upload. I want you to try 9 through 12 on your own, and then I want you to watch for the answers. Number 9, it says measure of angle ABC. You should have gotten 90 degrees C. Number 10, the measure of D, E, and F includes 3 smaller angles. You should have gotten D, 98 degrees. Number 11, Mike used a protractor. If we know 2 of the angles, 102 degrees plus 128 degrees, you got 230 degrees. Now we all know a circle is worth 360 degrees. So we subtract the 230 degrees and we get B, 130 degrees. And the last one you should have solved, Larry has 3 pieces of pie left. The measure of one piece is 35 degrees. The second piece is 25 degrees. The third piece has an angle with a measure that is half of the combined measures of these 2 pieces. So let's add up these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is half the combined measures, so we divide 60 by 2. And you should have gotten 30 degrees. What is the total measure of the angle formed by all 3 pieces? So once you find that tiny step, then you have to go back, add the 60 plus 30, and you should get B, 90 degrees. Have fun using your protractor. Goodbye.